So it's been a long time, but we're back with the 2021-2022 school year's first episode of PodCats, the State of the Athletics Address, and I'm your host, Luke Schoenfelder. Today we take time to prepare you for everything the Wildcats have to look forward to in all of their sports on the court, the field, the track, and everywhere between. Who better to take a look at this season with me besides Wildcat Athletic Director and my guest at this time, Pat Atwell. Pat, thank you for joining me.
Yeah, great to be here. Love doing the State of the Union and Athletics Address. It's kind of fun.
Been a long time since we got the chance to do one of these, and I'm sure that you're as many Wildcat fans as well as I am are excited to hear what you've got to say.
We weren't even here last year at this time, right? And we didn't even get to really do anything until mid-September because we pushed everything back as a school. So it's nice to be back here in August, kind of a traditional time frame.
Oh yeah, we'll get into more of that. But first off, I know there's a lot of people. There's people that are excited to hear your take on something before we even dive into any of the sports. And that was a little remodeling done this offseason on Ellison Fulton Stadium. As anyone who's ever heard me doing a broadcast knows very well, I like to reference the turf monster. And after a week of debuts, it seems like that's dead. That's gone.
That? Yeah, we used to try to use it as a home field advantage that our turf was a little slick, let's say. We figured, well, we practice on it. Maybe it's our advantage. So that was our mindset. But now we have gorgeous new turf. I mean, the field looks beautiful. It always looked good, but now it plays well. And I mean, I think we've got, between the two soccer programs and, our football program and our lacrosse program, that's about 300 kids that are going to have a real direct benefit from having a new field. So real props to the school for President Palmer and the board to step up and make that change. We had 7 years out of our other field, and it was time to get a new one because it just from a playability standpoint, it really wasn't doing what we needed it to do.
Absolutely. Well, with that being said, let's dive right into unboxing these next 9 months of Culver Stockton sports, starting with the fall athletics. We start by taking a look at the cross-country program. Head coach Doug Savage returns for year number 6. 5 scheduled meets so far this year. What insight can you give us just what cross-country has in store this year?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's excited. He signed some new kids to build the roster a little bit. And that's a key in a sport like cross-country, just to get a few more competitors, because it's, if you have 8 or 10 out running, well, you take the best 5 scores. It's better to have that than just 5 or 6 out running. So I think a lot of it is just building depth. And then, of course, if you sign some cross-country kids, they can also help you in the track and field program. So I think Doug's excited about adding some depth and just to continue to grow that program. And, we usually open at home, down at River Valley, and they're a great partner for us. And it's a pretty rough course. I mean, it's a difficult enough golf course when you're going up and down some of those hills. But, I mean, running up and down them, I know it's a challenging course, and it's something that when the other teams come in, they're always saying like, "Wow, what a great course! Really challenging course." So it's a fun place to watch a cross country meet.
Absolutely. And talking about cross country, only 2 juniors and 2 seniors listed in the entire 10-person roster currently. What does that say about the future to this program going beyond?
Yeah, I think it's a program we can definitely keep growing. And I think it'd be, we can. It'd be a nice place if we can add a little help in some way, shape, or form. With Doug to give him some help in the cross-country track and field world would be a great thing also. But I think as you look at that, if you can add, each year, if you can add even 3 or 4 cross-country kids each year and just keep growing the program. So, it'd be nice to have 10 or 12 on both sides out running, competing, or even more, 15. But it's just, it's a process to build it to that level. So we're excited to always add new kids and just see what the new kids can do with the returning kids and what kind of program we're going to have.
All right, now the next topic we want to dive in and discuss. You talked about River Valley. Let's talk about the golf team here. Men's and women's golf program both preparing to kick off their seasons over the next week. Men kick off tomorrow. Women on next Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken.
That sounds right.
What can we expect from the golf programs this year after an 8th place and 11th place finish for both teams in last year's Heart of America Conference Championship?
Yeah, we'll start with the women's side. Where we had a new coach, Emma Baker, took over last year, and it'll be fun to as she. Anytime you get to coach a little more and you just learn the ropes and you learn a little bit more about recruiting and she was a solid. I actually played with her this summer one time. She's a pretty good golfer. She was a real good scramble partner, so I like to have an Emma on my team. I'm just anxious to see how they do. They've got a smaller roster. 5 kids, I think. So looking forward to building that up to that same kind of 8 to 10 if we can get that many and keep the competition up. But I think there's a team that we're looking for just some consistency out of them and to see how a lot of them will do. And a lot of it's their second year. We got a lot of more freshmen last year, their second year playing collegiate golf, and then for Emma to compliment them through the recruiting process, down the line. But we'll see how they do this year. I'm anxious to see as they settle into being college golfers, and kind of get their feet under them in a traditional setting. The guys, Tim's real excited with the kids he has back. And also he signed a young man from Germany who's a nice golfer from what I'm hearing. Tim's played with him a little bit and some preseason things. So in golf, you can add a highly skilled person. That's extremely helpful. So along with our German young man, a couple other recruits. So I think Tim's excited about the golf program and on the men's side where it's going to go. So and we won back-to-back championships in the mid-teens before we expanded up into Iowa, and those Iowa schools are pretty good. So I know Tim wants to get back to that level. So we'll see if this class can head us up towards the top third of the league again.
Absolutely. And you talked about the women. Actually, when I was looking at the roster last night preparing for this, entirely sophomore, top to bottom, from everything current. And they were actually able to take 8th place last year in the Heart of America Conference Championship, which is not a easy feat with just freshmen. What does that give you going forward about that team? Like, what excitement can that root for you with them being just freshmen last year?
Well, it does. And, we lost Haley Gullinger, who's a good senior. But, I mean, like you said, the whole group other than Haley is returning. So there's a lot of experience there. And you just learn so much when you go through it for a year and just learn about traveling and playing maybe multiple days and just figuring out, okay, we're going on Monday and just you miss some class, you get back, you're taking care of your class schedule. So just getting in the rhythm of being a college golfer. So I think just that experience is going to help them tremendously. And then now it's kind of within that group who steps up to replace who was a good senior. Haley was a really good player who can step up and really lead that group. And then for Emma to look at them and see where she can add to it. So, yeah, I think it's great. I think we had 7 or 8 freshmen, and we got these 5 they're going to go into their sophomore year. And that's not unusual at the college level for, to kind of sort out, like, I don't know if this is for me, is this for me? But for this group, they love it. They want to be college golfers, and Emma will do a good job leading.
Absolutely. So let's move on to women's soccer. And the first topic we have to discuss when it comes to them is the level of contrast you see in the coaching staff. This offseason, Javier Magallon and Ryan Houston both joined the team as assistant coaches for their first time around. Whereas on the flip side of that coin, you have Tyler Tomlinson and assistant Wendy Arnett in their 11th and 9th season, respectively. How does that contrast benefit the program for this coming year?
Well, the stability in having Tyler and Wendy is really nice at our level. Tyler and I think Tim Schrager are kind of the dean of our coaches now. So they're as far as our own staff, with Coach Kemner leaving. So, we lean on Tyler for some leadership, but his having that leadership and that experience and then the energy that Javi and Ryan can bring, and that is a great mix, because they just did it. They were just out there competing, and that relationship that they can have with the players that they just, those players saw them playing and can see, they can relate, I think, really well with the players given that their recent experience. So I think it's a nice blend. Coach Longo is over in Quincy helping them, and it made sense for him. He didn't have to drive a half hour over here to help us, but he's really loyal to us, and he's going to help us maybe get some John Wood kids or those kind of things down the line. But I think it's a nice mix. I think Tyler's experience, Tyler's knowledge, along with the youth enthusiasm of some kids that just got done playing, should be a really good mix for our players as far as who to talk to. And Wendy brings a great amount of experience, and she and Tyler have a nice rhythm to how they work together. So we appreciate Wendy, volunteering and helping us out.
Absolutely. And now we talk about the season start. The 2-0 victory just the other day against Missouri Baptist last Friday. And how does the outlook of this 2021 season look following a tough 4-7-1 COVID-ridden 2020?
Yeah, the last year for soccer, it's hard to even quantify a record. Same with football. It's just, you never knew who was going to play. But I think Tyler always has a team that's going to compete, So what we saw the other night was a nice result. Missouri Baptist is a solid team. It's always good to get a PK early and then, have Jody put it away. That's always nice. And I was laughing the other day with, I mean, Jody Ellis, who's a very good player, but I always thought if they did like exit velocity in soccer, like they do in baseball, I mean, when she hits it, she can really hit it with her strikes. I mean, it's noticeable that she can strike the ball harder than most other young women that are playing soccer in our league. So, but I think as a team, I have high expectations. I think this is a team that can challenge in the top third of the league. How do you do that? Well, you got to get some bounces. You got to get some bounces. It's soccer. It's that kind of game. But we typically defend solidly. Can we generate enough offense to complement how we typically defend? But I think this team's going to be a team that can compete in the upper third of the league, a team that can make the playoffs. So will that happen? That's why we play a season. But I think they're capable of that, and we're looking forward to that.
Absolutely. And my final question on women's soccer is, you kind of started to hint to it. You must be excited about it, as this season as an athletic director, the topic kind of will become a trend throughout the day. Senior Jody Ellis began her campaign to push for a Culver Stockton all-time career point record with a goal and an assist against Missouri Baptist. What can you say about these record campaigns that are popping up this year?
Well, that's what you love to see. First of all, it means the kids are committed. They're staying for 4 years. It's like a couple years ago when we broke the shutout record on the guys. I mean, just love to see kids achieve and kids get up towards the record books. And it says a lot about their commitment to the college and the commitment to the coaching staff. So it's fun. And I mean, when you can wrap up some individual accomplishments inside a team game, knowing that if the individual succeeds, it should help the team. Those are good things. I mean, you don't want it to ever be about the individual in a team game, but it can all come together. And when you see the teammates, the respect they have for each other, they want the individuals to succeed. They want the individual to get those records. So I think that it'll be fun to follow. Those kind of things are great to follow because in my mind, then you start looking. You have your little list. You're like, all right, well, that's a kid that could be a future Hall of Famer. When you're thinking down the line, I mean, that's the kind of stuff I'm always thinking about. Like, you keep a little list somewhere. Like, yeah, that kid was really an achiever. I mean, that kid really got it done. You start thinking about national awards and those kind of things. So yeah, I'm really excited. I mean, the women's soccer program does a great job with their culture and how they set things up, and Tyler should be proud of that, and he is. And I'm anxious to see this team and see them to really drive into that top part of the league, and that's a challenge because there's great teams in our league. I mean, you got to strap it up every day, but that's all the fun. That's the fun part of it. Put it out there, compete, and see what you can do.
For sure. And we stay on the pitch moving forward as we head to the men's side of the soccer world, who also began their season with a 2-0 victory, this one over William Woods University. Looking to make things happen this year following, again, a tough season due to COVID. And what upside have you seen so far for this season and for the future of this program?
Yeah, I mean, again, Brian Davis is in his second year. He's an alum, and it gives him time to really settle in. I mean, what a hard first year when you're a first-year coach, you're dealing with COVID. And you really don't know who your team's going to be until you get on the bus. Really, I mean, who can go, who can't go, who's in quarantine, who's not. I mean, it was crazy. So having Brian to settle in, get a year of recruiting where he brings in 10 or 12 of his own guys. They're all his own guys, but you get to bring in some guys that you can see fitting into what you have. So I thought they showed really well the other night. They played well. They played with composure. They had a lot of hair color going on. There was a lot of blonde going on down there with the dyed hair. So they're having fun. They're doing some team building stuff, but I like their game, and I think I think there's a lot of upside. Now, the national champions reside in our league, and another team that's a Final Four team, our league in men's soccer, as we saw, the other night, Missouri Valley, the defending national champs, went over and beat Quincy. Quincy prides himself on having a good soccer program at Division II level. Our soccer in the heart of America is top notch, and I mean way at the top. So it'll be a challenge for them. But again, I think they can be a playoff team. That's top 8 out of 13. That's a lot to ask, but there's no doubt in my mind they're capable of doing that. And it's a matter of just playing consistent soccer, and they can do that. Brian's a good leader. They play with composure and play with them within themselves. They can accomplish that. And that'd be a great feat for them to qualify for the conference tournament.
Absolutely. And you answered my other question. My other question, talks about the growing pains for Coach Brian Davidson is, what is it like stepping into that atmosphere where you don't know what's around you with COVID and with everything going on? So thank you for covering that already and just diving into that, because that was one of the things I was most fascinated to hear from you. Like, does that set him up for a more successful now second season because he's dealt with things that first-year coaches usually don't have to?
I think it's a great question because I mean it was organized chaos, honestly, and I felt bad for him. Like, yeah, Brian, how many what do you have? Well, Pat, I got 16 guys. I got another couple. Like, okay, well, I mean, 16, we can probably play. It doesn't matter what 16. It's just you got 16, so let's go play. And he took it really well. I mean, I know he'd like to had his best guys out there all the time, but it just didn't work that way last year. So to me, last year was a lot of experience growing. It was great. It's always great to win your opener. I mean, you're in a sport where you only play 18 games, so to win your opener is a big deal. And so I was really glad to see him get a win and get that winning feeling and get the shutout. That's always nice. So it's and we made a great save at the end. I mean, we kind of had a little lapse on defense. If you remember, they got a breakaway, and our keeper made a great save to preserve the shutout, which was a lot of fun. When you're working on a shutout for 89 minutes, you kind of like to get the shutout. So yeah, I'm really anxious to see them move forward and really compete in this non-league schedule before we get to the league, and then be ready for the league and to make a run, because this is soccer is a big deal here at Culver, and we want to have teams that go to the conference tournament. It's a challenge because people try hard at that sport in our league, but this team will be up for it, I think.
Absolutely. Pat, we head inside now as we get to address fall women's volleyball. Season opened up with a home win. There's a little bit of a stumble at the tournament last weekend, but a winning home opener and a lot of season left to play, there's still a very good chance for this volleyball program to make a run at a very successful season, as you continue to talk about, with teams being in the top third of this league.
Yeah, and Lauren's done a wonderful job. I mean, she recruited 20 new players, which is a ton when you think about volleyball. And again, they did have a little bit of some COVID situation, a couple of kids out, so they don't have the full squad even at this point. Getting back through quarantine and clearing to play. So, but they have. It was great to see them win the home opener. It was nice to beat Health and Sciences down at St. Louis, and undefeated at home. So they'll get to put that on the line here coming up pretty soon. I think this weekend they play at home again. But Lauren's a worker. Does a good job. It's fun to watch new talent. I thought the other night we served tremendously well. We had some new kids come in, and it's fun for me to watch the new kids compared to our returning student athletes. The house coach using them, how they blend in together. 20 new kids is a lot of new kids. So it's fun for us to see that, and I can't wait to watch them play. I think Lauren's going to do a great job for us, and we got a new assistant, Levi, to help us with both sports. So again, her first year was with COVID. It's kind of a get used to a year. You never know who you're going to have. So this is, to me, this is kind of like her first real year. Let's see what the program looks like and keep building the program. But I have high expectations of them as well. I mean, again, to me, that's a team that can compete and make the conference tournament. Now that's what we're all striving for. We always want to make the conference tournament, because then you never know. You can get hot and make a run on the tournament. So that's what we're shooting for that team to make the conference tournament and really make a run there.
For sure. They got 11 freshmen listed on that roster. And does that make you excited to not only see what they can do as a push now, but also with the longer Lauren stays and the longer she's able to build her roster, does that give you faith that this team could be, we're talking top 3 in the entire conference? Yeah,
big time. That's the exact vision. When you, on our side, our division, you're always comparing yourself to Graham. Can you compete with Graham? So but the way you do that is to start stacking recruiting classes, and we'll get to program football where you can see that's how it works. Stack recruiting classes one after another, stack talent, look around, see what your talent, what do you need, go out and find them, go out and get them. And I just saw where she signed a left-handed outside. Well, that's huge. You can put a left-hander on the right side in volleyball, and that makes you a lot tougher to defend. So you're always just looking to add weapons, and Lauren's done a good job of that. So it's exactly what we need. Watch us develop this class. I always say if you can recruit them and you can kind of water them and watch them grow, and all of a sudden, there you go. You got your team. You've cycled up, and you got your team that's ready to compete for a conference championship. And that's how you do it at a place like Culver Stock.
And absolutely, I can't agree more. And finally, we go to our final fall sport, which is the one closest to my heart. Culver Stock in college football, a tough season opener, 38-36 loss. It went down to the wire with the 7th-ranked team in the nation, Baker University. And the first thing I have to ask is any speculation from you in following that nail-biter where the boys will be ranked in the next NAIA coaches poll, and if they'll be on that top 25 list?
Yeah, I don't expect us to be. I mean, I think when you're trying to get into there, you got to win, so I think it was on the radar. like, okay, you're on the radar. Now go win enough games to get ranked. So people know that we're a solid football program now. But when you're trying to get ranked, they make you win. So let's go out and beat Mid-Am this week, and then let's stack some wins. And then when the next ranked team rolls around, let's see if we can get one to tip our way. So they were. I mean, I got a call from Baker AD. I got a call from some other Ds. Like, holy cow, that we knew you guys were coming, but that was legit. So yeah. So I in my mind now, Tom being the football coach, Coach Shelley's probably more of an expert on exactly how the football ranking, but I don't expect us to be ranked again because we competed. End of the day, we weren't ranked and we didn't win. So. I'm more worried about beating Mid-Am this Saturday. So let's figure out a way to do that. But it was a highly entertaining college football game. Arguably, I mean, I'd like to find somebody around the country on opening week to find a better one. If you want to throw a game of the week on, I mean, you got kickoff returns for touchdown, you got big plays, you got huge turnovers. I mean, you got emotions up and down. I'd like to find a better game in the country on opening week than that one. If they were going to do a game of the week that they wanted to show retroactively, that would have been the one.
I can't seem to just find anything to disagree with there. We spoke earlier about Jody Ellis's campaign kicking off earlier this week. Dalton Huffman, if my numbers are correct, is 18 tackles away now following that game from the Culver's all-time tackling record, as well as other players making drastic pushes being listed as possible NFL draft prospects. And what does this all say about the program from 4 years ago when Tom Sally and his staff took over?
First of all, he's a tackling machine. I mean, he just has that knack. He's that linebacker knack for finding the ball. So Dalton's a great example of a local kid. Hannibal has come to Culver, done a great job, and is going to, hopefully, if he's healthy, break that record, which is exciting for everybody. But it tells a lot about the program that so many of these guys stuck around for their fifth year. Last year didn't count because of COVID. We got a waiver. They only got to play 4 games. So it tells you about how much they care for each other, how much they care for the coaching staff, and how much they care for the college. That we've been trying to get this done. This was a 4-year thing. Now it's a 5-year thing. And this is the year. This is the year that they've been looking for. Hopefully people will stay healthy. We can just put it out there and compete every week. And that's all you can ask for. And we have enough talent. If we go out there and compete every week, we're going to get our share of wins. And it's a, program. I think we were a 6-5 team 2 years ago. Last year, we didn't really get to play. So this year is a year that they want to do better than that. What were we? We're 6-5. We want to do better than that. I mean, they have goals to win a division, goals to go to the playoffs. Well, you got to win. We got to beat Mid-Am. That's the start. But if this group won 6, excuse me, then I'm sure next year they want to win. This year they want to win 7, 8, 9, 10. How many are you going to win? So whatever number you choose, they want to win more than 6. And to make the season be a success, they want to get up in a number higher than that. So you got to be healthy. You got to play well. You got to do all the things right. But this team's capable of doing that. I can't wait to watch it unfold.
And we talked about it last year. The team absolutely plagued with COVID, and I was in the room when you had to break the news for the first couple of weeks of games just repeatedly getting canceled and just running into tough times. In general, what expectations do you have about this team's coming season, where many of the original members of Coach Sally's staff or team from 2017, just like you just pointed out, came back for a 5th year? Like, you're dealing with a team that, one of the biggest comparisons I heard was back in 2017. It was a team full of freshmen stepping onto the field that are now 23, 22-year-old grown men.
Right. Right. We have high expectations. I don't think you can run from those. I think it's healthy to have expectations. When I coached, which I coached for quite a while, I would tell if I had a good team, I'm like, fellas, we're supposed to win today. I mean, I could be up here and tell you, hey, they're going to try, but we're better than they are. Let's go out and play. If we play the game right, we're going to win. Let's go do our thing. Now let's get it. I mean, that's, and we have a good team. So, it's a funny game. Things can bounce a funny way. You get a turnover, but if you go out there and play for 60 minutes, we have a good enough team to win a lot of games. And Coach Sally and his staff, and he's kept his staff together really well too. That's hard to do at a small college. And he's kept his staff together really well. It's a really good staff. I mean, they have as your team, as a football player, is a solid football culture. Culver does not have a long history of football success. We've had little spurts. So we're hoping that the Coach Sally program will give us a long run of success. And that would be a tremendous accomplishment by he and his program in the school to finally have a steadily successful football program would be a big deal.
For sure. So that's it for fall sports. And Director Atwell, it's time for us to dive into a kind of an earlier preview with less to talk about, less truly known about the winter and the spring yet. So maybe a little less to talk about there, but we're still going to take our time to preview.
All right, we'll take a shot at it.
Begin with the winter. Let's look at the co-ed bowling teams. The men finished 3rd out of 6 last year in the Heart of America Conference, whereas the women took 5th. What can we look forward to from Coach Sapp's veteran team led by 7 seniors between both of the groups?
Yeah, I mean, the men, I was up there. That was a really fun run. They made that run in the conference tournament, and that was a fun environment to be at. But I think he's got really high expectations. Again, 2nd-year coach. Finding his way, and he was a great collegiate bowler. So learning, to be a head coach and sign 3 or 4 kids to help the programs. And then, he'll have his work cut out next year. As you noted, there's quite a few seniors, that we're going to lose and to replace. But I think he has very high expectations for both teams, and both teams have high expectations for themselves. So we're excited about both. We're excited to see what they can do with a year under their belt playing for Coach Sapp. And again, I don't want to set say more than they can do, but I think there's high expectations that they can compete at a high level in the league, and that's exciting. So let's just see how these seniors, and can they lead the underclassmen to prep for when they leave, prep them to get it done and follow in their footsteps.
The next we also want to look and dive into is women's basketball. After a couple of impressive pushes towards the conference finals over the last years, a tough season seems to have ushered in a time of rebuilding for the Wildcats. Currently only 6 returning players to the entire roster, whereas they've introduced on Twitter 10 new faces that are majority freshmen. What can we look for the Wildcats this year?
It'll be interesting. I mean, it's a team that Jeanette's, Coach Bergen has a lot of pride. She and Tara, and that didn't sit real well with them, I don't think, last year. And it was an awful year again with COVID, and we shut the programs down for a while, and there was kids that just didn't play. I mean, it was a very difficult year, but they were still playing hard at the end, and actually got a couple wins at the end, which tells you that they care, that they're committed. So I'm anxious to see this team and the new talent. Can the new talent, there is some talent coming back, can the new talent add in and we get back on the road to where we're used to being? Jeanette's had a team that qualified for the NAI National Tournament with a whole bunch of seniors that graduated, and her model is to bring in a lot of freshmen and let them mature into a junior and senior class that's a highly competitive team in the conference, and then add some junior college kids to it where she has a need. So she's in the process now of stacking a freshman class with another one coming in here, adding some JUCO kids to it and some transfer kids, and then seeing where they go. So I'd say there's a little bit of unknown because we don't know much about the talent they have coming in. She's excited about it, and Tara's excited about it. So anxious to see how they meld with the returning kids. And then there's some freshmen that got a lot of playing time last year. You'd like to think they'll just keep getting better. So it'll be really fun to see them hopefully start their journey back up towards the top of the league where they like to be.
Now, Pat, in the past, we've seen some of these parallels between men's basketball, football, baseball, and just my time here in 5 years, I've watched an repeated intake of freshmen that's ushered in a new age for these teams. We just got done talking about football. We'll talk about baseball. Right. These teams that are kind of ushering in new eras with just a boatload of freshmen. Is that kind of what we're seeing here, do you think?
Yeah, and I think that's how we have to do it. I mean, if we're going to really build, I feel like we'll build and cyclically, when you stack the right recruiting classes, we head for our challenge at the top of the league. Now, can you stay up at the top? That's the real challenge. Can you stack enough talent behind like your upper class talent to sustain? When all these football guys go away, will another class be ready to sustain? Hopefully what is excellence? And so you have, you don't cycle all the way down towards the bottom. You have a slight cycle down maybe, and then they're ready to go. So that'll be fun to see. But I think how you describe it's how we do it. We bring a lot of freshmen in. We watch them grow. We complement them with some kids. We find some transfer kids to help complement that, and then we have them make their run. And then you see what's behind them, and hopefully they're ready to make their run when the other kids leave. But sometimes you'll slide back a little bit, and then your young kids mature, and you make your run again. So I think cyclically we can always make those runs towards the top of the league, and that's kind of the way you do it at a place like Culver Stockton a lot of times.
And we conclude our winter sports segment talking about Culver's men's basketball program, a program that's been steadily improving over the last couple of years after exactly what we just talked about in Coach Hill's first year, bringing in a team of almost entirely freshmen. But however, over this last season, it seems that the team's lost a lot of guys through both graduation and transfers. Do you see the trend of this team starting to continue to potentially rise even without those guys? And what new leaders are going to take over this team?
Yeah, I'd say the new leaders will be, the kids that are coming back, and then to be determined on the kids that came in. And Coach Hill, he did, because some kids left. I mean, again, basketball didn't get charged a season. So some kids thought, well, I think I still got 4 years. Maybe I'll look somewhere else to a bigger school. Okay. I mean, we'd rather they stayed here, but it's a free country. You can do what you want. But Coach Hill recruited 20 kids to complement the kids we have coming back. And he did recruit some transfer kids. So he knew he wanted a little bit more maturity and physicality, and it's a really good basketball league on both sides, men and women. So yeah, I'm anxious to see the leadership of the returning kids, blossom, and then really see who is. I mean, I think in the next couple of months, as they start practice and stuff, we'll have to find those leaders. I think that is a real to be determined, and that'll help shape what kind of season we have. So we have high expectations. Again, it's a great league, but Aaron's competitive. He wants to be good. We got a new assistant coach in with him, and I'm anxious to see how they can do it and how they come together. And it'll be fun for me to watch that team grow.
And Coach Aaron Hill, let's talk about him for just a second, because it seems like every team's going to be able to find talent. Some guys that have come through this program have been absolutely fantastic in just the last couple of years. But Coach Hill seems to have that just massive swing factor that his men are just drawn to him. They all want to play for him. They all appreciate him. And how much of an impact has that made to the steady rise of this team back into the spotlight?
Well, they know he cares. He cares, and he was a tremendous college basketball player himself. I got to watch him play a lot, and he's local. He knows the environment here. He's a coach's kid, so he has a good feel for it. And they know he cares, and when he's recruiting, they work hard in practice. He works hard, and hard work usually pays off. It's rare for me to see a coach work hard, recruit hard, and not have it pay off, in wins and losses. So, we have high expectations that this group will join with the ones that are here and just start this process for us to make that charge up the league ladder. Again, it's a highly competitive person. Aaron is driven by success, and I think we're going to have it.
All right, with that, we wrap up the winter sports segment. Now I want to talk a little bit about that transitionary sport. The transitionary period here, winter to spring, maybe something I don't know quite as much about, is dance and cheer. Kind of starting to blossom, develop a larger roster. You could definitely tell when they were on the sideline this last weekend for football that there's a lot more coming around. And what does that mean for this program potentially?
Well, we're hoping, and both Jen and Amanda are growing the rosters, which is a huge deal for the school. And we want to get to a point where we can compete, because cheer dance is a competitive sport in the NAI, just like football, basketball, soccer, baseball, like all those sports. And so they want to get to the point where their rosters are big enough and they're competitive enough to go compete in some of those contests. So that's what we're hoping for this year, to go compete in a contest or two and see how that goes. So as you said, it's noticeable that the rosters are growing. So the rosters are growing, the talent level keeps going up. So we're excited for that. So, I'd love to see that sport, cheer dance, together, have 40 or 50 kids. That'd be great for the college. It'd be great for the athletic department. So we're in the growth process there, and we're hoping to get to go to a couple contests this year and just see how we do stack up. So it'll be fun to see.
Absolutely. And then, so with that being said, we dive now into the spring in the final little segment of our show. And we take a look at Culver's newest sport on campus, women's lacrosse, entering their third season. Of course, you want a team to be successful. However, there's always going to be a little bit of a bump in the road when you're starting a brand new team at a college level. But Coach Erickson quickly getting her girls on the right track, moving to 3-12 last season, which for a group that's been together for only a year, preparing them to have maybe a breakout season this year with the team entering their junior year. Like, what do you see for them going forward?
Yeah, I was real happy. I mean, I think for her to make the conference tournament last year, she beat a couple of teams out that had been established teams that were been around longer than we had. That was a big deal. I mean, we got the final qualifying spot, but that's a huge deal when you're in your second year. And first year, we had a lot of kids that hadn't played a lot of lacrosse. So she's teaching kids to actually play lacrosse. Then as you saw year 2, we recruited a few more lacrosse players. And now that's where we're at. We keep growing, and she's had time to recruit lacrosse players to the campus. I love that sport. That sport's fun to watch. The fitness level of those young ladies is supreme. There's a lot of running, and it's a very fun sport. It's a great sport for us to add. Caitlin's done a wonderful job. Again, creates a great culture for her student athletes, and I'm really excited about what they can do this spring. Again, to add, excuse me, another recruiting class on top of the kids that are at, and those kids getting better. I was talking to a couple of them the other day. They're really excited to get going. So that's a fun sport, and they're going to love the new turf also.
Oh yeah, and I can actually just attest. I still get my little humble brag if I was the one that got to call the first ever goal in that.
How about that?
And so I love getting to look back on that. But with this program beginning to develop, almost a must-see program at Ellison Polton Field, what is going to be the next step for third-year head coach Caitlin Erickson to get her girls in the forefront of the NAIA rankings?
Yeah, so I think the next step is you win a conference tournament game, right? So you get your record. Can you get your record closer to 500, and then can you not qualify for the conference tournament? Can you get a win there? And even more than that, she sure has higher goals, but I just kind of like step goals, like, okay, we got there. Let's get a win. Can we, and like I'm in soccer, we want to qualify in the top 8. Can we get in the top 4 and host a game? That'd be a huge deal. So there's always these little challenges within the challenge of what you want to do. So to me, that step would be, all right, can we double our wins? We won 3 games. Can we win 6 games at least? Let's double our wins. Can we do that? And can we make the conference tournament and win a conference tournament game? Hopefully more than that, but it's a lot of ways to define success. You define success by, are your kids graduating? Are they having a great experience? All those things you want on the field. You just want to keep getting better, and I again, the amount of effort and energy Caitlin puts into it, they're going to keep getting better because she's a good coach.
Absolutely. And we dive now into Culver Stockton's men's volleyball team, and you talked about it a little bit. I've been excited to discuss it, though. In this offseason, we learned about former coach Karen Kemner making her jump across the river to Quincy. An exciting step for her. We wish the best to Coach Kemner. But you made the decision to hire new coach Devin Walker. What can we expect from him in his first year?
Yeah, Devin is very connected. So I think from a recruiting standpoint, you're going to see good recruiting classes coming in. First year, he was able to there were 4 or 5 kids signed. He added another 3 or 4 to that recruiting class, which was great. So we got, I think, 8 new guys to come in, and we got the returning freshman of the year on the roster. I think his cousin came in, who's a good-looking young man. I think this team and this sport has an infinite ceiling where they can go, because it's a growing sport in the NAIA. Again, we've got Grandview in our league. We got Park in our league. We got some superior teams in our league. But Devin likes the challenge, and he's excited about it. And I think this program can have a tremendous trajectory. And it is one of the most fun sports to watch. The athleticism out there on display at men's volleyball is crazy. Very enjoyable sport to watch. So I can't wait. Again, I have never seen Devin coach a game. Can't wait to watch. Can't wait to watch how he interacts with the guys and stuff. But I have very, very high expectations for where this program can go.
And it seems to be now a theme here for the spring sports. Another new coach story as we talk women's softball. Ron Radcliffe takes over this year for his first season and takes over what looks to be an extremely veteran group, including pitcher who I got a chance to watch a lot last year calling games, Grace Preston, who was absolutely astonishing to watch most of the season, and a strong lineup of bats that seemed to continue to blast the ball over the fence all year last year, carrying the team to a 21-31 record. What comments do you have about this team and what Coach Radcliffe's walking into?
Yeah, again, another sport I can't wait to watch. Let's see how they do. We have most of our pitching back. That's always a big deal. Most of our players back. We lost, a handful of very good players, but most of the players back. So a lot of veteran at bats, a lot of innings pitched. And for us to get Coach Radcliffe at our level is really great for both of us. He was looking for a job in this geographic area, and we had a need. So to get a gentleman that was most recently coaching in the Big Ten, that's not something that always happens for Culver Stockton. But Rod I think he'll be a real organized, understanding how we're going to play the game type of coach. And if you just play, again, that's a sport close to my heart. I coached baseball forever. I played a ton of fast pitch softball. And if you just play the game correctly and play it well, you can win a lot of games. So I just think his veteran leadership will be a very nice addition to this squad. And we'll just, it's a very good league, again, as our league is in everything. And again, I think this is a team that made the conference tournament last year, third in our division. Their goal is to get up there and make some noise in the conference tournament. They have an over 500 season and get up there in that conference tournament and make some noise. I can't wait to watch Coach Rod coach. And I think it was great for him to have this job pop open and great for us that he accepted it.
Absolutely. And it's time for us to start wrapping up and talking about our final sport of the day as we talk about Coach Brad Gorkas and his baseball team. Knowing your background with all of your coaching history, this is the sport that personally I'm most excited to hear your opinion about. So I didn't really leave many questions here, and I just thought I'd let you go and tell me what you tell me about baseball this year.
I mean, baseball, again, high expectations. Brad's, he had to kind of figure out COVID, and then he got to have kind of a regular year, as regular as you can have in the spring last spring. But now he can settle in, and he works his tail off. And then and so does the Harrison House assistant. And when we got a pitching coach and a volunteer pitching coach this year, which is going to help a lot. But hard work will pay off, and it's going to pay off here. And this team can keep growing. And Brad's learning what he wants. When you're a young coach, you got to learn how you want to coach and what you want, and he's learning that. And they stack talent too. I mean, they are relentless. They recruited 30 new guys, and they're relentless recruiters, relentless people searching for talent. And like I told him, and I sent him my stats one time, like, hey, it took me about 4 years to learn I need more pitchers. So look at here's my first teams. We hit the heck out of it, but I only had about 5 guys that could pitch. Here's my really good teams, and we had about 10 guys that could pitch. So there's things you learn as you get doing it. So given that I did it, I try to help his learning curve a little bit, and he's great about listening. And but I think the baseball program, it's a good league, but we're going to keep getting better and better. We are, and we're gonna get back to the playoffs. We're going to get back to the regionals, and this team, where do we want to go? We want to get the NAIA World Series. That's what we want to do. I want to go out there to the NAIA World Series and watch Brad coach. And so Brad, before I retire, I want to go to the NAIA World Series and watch you coach. I'm not retiring for a few years, so let's figure this out. But it starts, one step at a time up there in the fall, doing things right. This is a program that can get it done. It's another alum, like Coach Sally's an alum leading the program. Coach Davidson's an alum leading the program. We have an alums leading programs. It's a big deal. And I might have missed something. I was just, firing out there quick, but it's a big deal. Emma is an alum leading the program, Baker. So it's fun to have alums leading programs because they really care about the school. And then, we got track and field too. The track and field indoor, outdoor, Coach Savage, and we talked about cross country, but we got and then track and field will start rolling around. And I mean, they're always doing something between indoor and outdoor. It's a perpetual season, it feels like, but they're trying to up their team rank, and then they have some great individual performances. They're always trying to find individuals and relay teams that can get to the nationals, which is a big deal for them. So yeah, a lot going on, man. When you got 19, 20 sports, there's always something going on. I'm over here a lot watching them. So it's a great job to be over here watching these kids put it out there.
Absolutely. Well, Director Atwell, I think it's about that time. That's about all the time I got. Any final comments, anything that I missed over out of you for this year's edition of the State of the Athletics Address?
No, hey, let's I appreciate the kids' support, the student support of each other. Get out there and watch us, and we're going to put it on the line and represent Culver Stockton in a first-class manner. So go Wildcats.
Well, I want to thank you, Director Atwell, for your time. A shout-out to Tyler Tomlinson, John Shield, the entire rest of the staff for the Wildcat Network for helping us make this episode of PodCats possible. Again, thank you, Athletic Director Pat Atwell, for being my special guest today. I'm your host, Luke Schoenfelder, and this has been the State of the Athletics Address episode of PodCats on the Wildcat Network, and that is a wrap for episode 1.